Hello and welcome to City Girls with Country Roots. I thought I would give you an update of my current garden. We just went through the storms of, Elsa. We ended up getting the tail end of it this past, Saturday evening and into Sunday. So I always encourage you that after you've been through a storm, to definitely come out and reevaluate your garden and look and see what needs to happen, or more say what has happened because of storms. But even if it has a storm, there's always a good time to come out and check out, just your different plants and stuff after a good rain. Plus, I'm not gonna lie, I kind of like walking through a rain. But we'll start here with my container garden. As you notice in previous videos, it has not been together. Well, it's still a work in progress. And as you can see, I currently have zucchinis and everything growing in here. This pot right here had 3 of them in there, and I transplanted out the other 2, and we'll take a couple look at them because some of them are doing okay, some of them are not. But I also transplanted them about a week ago, so they had gotten some nice size on them. So I'm thinking part of the struggle is that, as well as I think there might be getting a little bit too much water. This one here also was another one that had 3 of them in there. So I went ahead and took 2 of them out. Forgive you hear the air conditioner going because I am in Kentucky where even though it has rained, it's still quite humid. This bag right here was, you see this one's just taking over. This is a gold star. And I'm sorry, this was the dark. And that should be, let me walk back real quick to tell you what I'm growing here. That right there is a lemon. So I had 3 lemons, 3 darks. I actually had 4 gold stars that end up separating off from each other. And as you tell, this one got bent over, and this is a standard crookneck. And right now I'm growing them this year in these fabric gold grow bags and everything. I end up growing potatoes in the majority of them, so I was looking for something that I could regrow in these pots. These right here, if you remember from my previous videos about raging tomatoes, I did about when your tomatoes are in pots too small, because I got them free from excuse me, I had gotten them free from the community garden. And you can see this one here is the last one I just transplanted. In fact, I transplanted at the same time that I moved some of the rest of these zucchinis and squashes. So it hasn't been in the pot as long. In fact, it was in one of those pre-bought pots that people get from the big box stores like Lowe's and them. And I finally decided, I think it was like last Thursday, to go ahead and try to transplant it over. And as you see that it's leaning, that came from the storm. The storm was so powerful, you guys, that it broke, of course, the stick on that, because I actually had it mounted with a stick, so I'll just replace the stick. It blew one of my greenhouses like up and almost over the fence line. It threw our garbage cans and everything. But believe it or not, and I'll show you this from a distance, that greenhouse over there did not budge. But grant you, it too is anchored and everything. But when I say, like these 4 pots right there, you see on top of that white container, we looked up and it got blown all the way over here and landed in that bed right there. You can see where my poor herb bed right there, where the Thai basil and the geranium, you see how that is all split down? All of that came from that storm. So I do have some tomatoes and different things that I'm going to have to go back in and restructure and put back together again and everything. But back there I have some sweet potatoes also growing in my fabric grow bags. This is the first time ever that I'm actually trying to grow sweet potatoes in the fabric pots. I've never grown them in there, so it's going to be, a new thing. So you can see where that poor squash zucchini got broke just from the storm. Right there I have some die-off going, and I'm pretty sure that's just all coming from me doing the transplants of those. Now this one here has 2 in here. That's an 8-ball, and I'm not going to touch it. I'm just going to leave that be. But once again, back to the tomatoes. So this here was one of the tomatoes that I received from the community garden that was struggling in a too small pot. The same thing right here. And as you can see, these tomatoes plants are doing absolutely wonderful. And there's the one back there too. All of them was in these itty bitty, like, I'm gonna say the pot couldn't be no more than 2 gallon, possibly maybe a 3. The sad part about it is this one right here was probably in a 4 gallon and should have been in something bigger. But I'm gonna keep, working with it. I see that there's hope for it. Right now it's just a lot of rain and everything because we're supposed to still be getting rain again. Same thing with this one. I transplanted this one over. So far it's still looking pretty good. You got a little die off, and I think that's just as coming from the shock of being transplanted. Same thing back there. I've already fed them some fish, but with the thing is, so with all this rain that we're experiencing, some of this is just going to be normal. Right here, I haven't planted anything yet, but I'm actually going to go ahead and plant some lima beans or either some Roma beans in that one. And the same thing down here. I'm going to go ahead and plant probably some beans in this one here. I'm not sure if it's going to be the lima or if it's going to be the Roma. I actually have the beans in my pocket. And in case you want to see what they look like, here they are. This is lima, and these are my Roma beans. And I pulled out like 6 seeds for each, in which I will plant all 6 seeds in all of these. So probably what'll happen is I'll probably actually end up planting the Roma beans back here, because back here where you see some of my tomato cages, I'm going to bring out some more fabric pots, and I'm late to the game on planting my wonderful potatoes this year here at the house anyway. But I do have some that I've planted over at the community garden, so I'm still going to have potatoes. But the thing is, I'm here in Kentucky, and grant you, yes, it is July, but potatoes depend on which one I'm growing, which I will be probably planting my red New Orleans. So yeah, it just does depend on what you're growing. So I'm going to definitely be growing my red New Orleans. I got some red Lesotho, so those are what consider like new potatoes. I will pick them more, say, as new potatoes. And I might either sneak in some Yukon Gold or Kennebecks. I'm not really sure what I'm going to do. But I have 3 big fabric pots that are going to definitely go back there. And I know some people will be like, oh my God, you waited so late. But you got to think about it. Over in, Ireland and stuff, they overwinter their potatoes, and they are in such a rainy season there as well. So I'm pretty sure that I will be okay even in July, because usually we don't even get our first frost now until like the end of October, middle part of November. So long as I get about a good 90 to 100 something days, in which I do have that time, if you just calculate even those 3 months alone gives me over 90 plus days. So I should be okay to definitely get at least the new potatoes or the little red potatoes, and maybe one set of the white. So I might end up doing a Yukon. I'm not going to fool with my purple or my Kennebecks, probably. Or if I do the Kennebecks, then I won't do the Yukons. But, either way it goes, I made sure to also stock up on enough seed potatoes to where I don't have to go out next year and get new ones. I can just keep them in the basement where it's cool and basically overwinter them too. But I also thought I'd show you, I planted a little bit of basil in there with my tomatoes. And I mean, it just depends on your take on it. I put some back there in that one too. It depends on your take on it. I am truly a person who loves basil, especially planted with my tomatoes, because I just think it does do something with the flavor, and people will argue with you and say, no, it doesn't. But what it does do, it does help distract the tomato hornworm. So it is actually a good companion plant for that particular reason. Here are some peppers that I was able to pick up too. I found them just laying around. So they was like free to a good owner. So these two are like Bonnie's yellow, and that's the yellow. And that's the red. So I planted them the same day that I transplanted these. And of course I put some black some dark basil in there. Let's come take a real quick look into what I consider my larger raised bed and in garden area. Right over here, in between, I'm hoping the rain today will start to bring out some of my tomato plants. We'll zoom in. You see those giganters in there? Yes. I'll start to bring them out and put them in the ground. And grant you, yes, it's been raining. It is wet. We still have about, I think, 5 more days of rain. Or maybe, I would say about a couple of days of rain. Then maybe a couple of days of just where it's going to be dry or whatever. But then the whole weekend of next weekend is like 60% chance of rain. Say hi, Asher. I'm trying to pick back up the little bit of fencing, and Asher, right here, wants to be like, I want to come in the garden too, which is not bad. The only problem is that when his buddy, Bobo, the pitty, comes out, they like to sometimes run through things, and I'm trying to keep them from like doing too much, just because when I plant this over here this week with the rest of the tomatoes and the peppers, I don't need them running across there. So I'm trying to get them to kind of learn to stay out. Right here is this mashed jungle. In one of my prior videos, you got to see that how the sweet potatoes started off, and they were just little bitty plants. Well, here they are again. I planted some in this raised bed, so I'm really curious to see what's what. I also have green beans, and I'm going to zoom in right here. Can you see him? That is the Japanese bean beetle. And they will wreak havoc on your green beans. But what I've also found out, a lot of times it used to be it was just beans. Nowadays, they are on everything. Also in this bed, besides just the green beans real quick, and I'll be taking care of him when I'm done with this video, which I will probably, unfortunately, he will be getting smashed in between my new trusty smasher, which is actually just broken off pieces from a pot. But hey, I don't have my sprays out here, but you can see they are not strangers to a lot of things, and I gotta hurry up. There's one even on my lemon balm and everything. But also too, right here, I have some more of my golden beets. Let's see if we can move that so you can kind of get in there and see those real quick. I said, these are green beans, and even right now as I'm making this video, it's starting to re-rain. So I got to hurry up real quick. But I do have some beans going on right here. I said I have this wonderful Japanese beetle that's there, but here are my green beans. I will be back out later when it stops raining, because to kind of go ahead and pick a few of these off of here. Also intercropped in here are some snackable bell peppers. Can you see those? Yes. Instead, I will be getting him. In fact, I might do that now. Pause, please. And we're going to say unpause. Okay. In between the intermission, because of the fact that it is raining out here, I went ahead and killed that little beetle with my new trusty click-clicks, as I call them now. And I'm not sure how much more of the video will get done. We might have to do a part 2 of the garden tour real quick, of seeing out the storm, because it's really starting to rain really bad. But here are some of my cucumber plants. And you have to pick them back up because the storm just blew them everywhere. But as you can see, they do have flowers. I don't see any females. It's just all males. And down here again is more of the snackle bells. And this one is actually red, so it's probably about ready. We're going to have to cut this video for now, and I will release a part 2 when this rain stops, so that you can see the rest of the garden and the rest of what the storm did to the garden and everything. But as I said, we're destined for rain, and it's really raining right now. So we will come back with a part 2. Hope you enjoyed this part. Don't forget to like and subscribe and comment, and I will make a part 2 to this video, so that way you can all see the cabbages and different things like that. All right, guys, be safe. Bye-bye.